We're glad to know you're still there, and this is the run-up. Lagos is the economic and social nucleus of Nigeria and the West African sub-region. It accounts for 32% of national GDP. It is also one of the fastest-growing cities in the world. By 2015, it is expected to be global state's, but it's expected to be the third largest city according to UN estimates. Over the past decades, the city has had to contend with the challenges that accompany staggering population growth rates. It is said that there are more than 20 million people in Lagos State. That means like 10% of the entire population of Nigeria resides in a small state surrounded by water like Lagos State. Now we'll be looking at if there's a possibility of transforming Lagos State, or whether Lagos State has actually reached its peak already and nothing else can be added, like an egg that has been laid and nothing is added and it becomes a chicken. And discussing this with us this morning, we have Mr. Kunle Uthman, a Lagos Governorship Candidate of the Social Democratic Party. Welcome to the program, sir.
Good morning.
Well, you run a campaign and you're calling it Hope 2023. And it's like Nigerians, all we have right now is hope. Okay, so, but what else, what kind of hope do you intend to bring to Nigeria and especially Lagos State?
Well, good morning. The word hope is an SDP word right from the time of Moshood Kashimawo Abiola, MKO. The Almighty God grant him eternal rest with Baba Gana Kingibe, when they came out and they successfully contested the election. Okay. So the word hope is a slogan of the Social Democratic Party. Now, what is hope? Where there is life, there is hope. This is the motto of my own primary school. I attended Oriti Primary School in Ikoyi, and the slogan of this school till yesterday is hope. Where there is life, there is hope. So for me, I was brought up with hope as a slogan that governs me. You understand, first and foremost, I'm aware that one of the rival parties, their presidential candidate, had now adopted hope as his own word. For me, it's plagiarism. We can forgive him. Because if there's a government in power and a candidate of the government is in power, is talking about hope, technically speaking, for all intents and purposes, what he means is that there's no hope. So he's looking forward to hope. What's my motivation? I'm first and foremost a Lagosian, right? My father is from here. He's from the Unigunu family of Lagos Island. My mother is also from Lagos State. I was brought up all my life in Lagos. Primary school, secondary school, A-levels, all in Lagos until I went to University of Benin to read law in the pioneer class of 1981. So I'm a stakeholder for all intents and purposes. And I tell you for free, everything that you have said, you are right to the point whereby population is not a disadvantage anywhere in the world. And you see this mantra that they are putting everywhere, mega city, mega city. The first indices of a mega city, the first one, is population. So if you don't attain a certain population threshold, you don't talk about mega city. So if you don't have people coming into the city and you have the figure that you have so copiously quoted, there will be no mega city. First and foremost, population is not a disadvantage. What is population got to do with growth? It has to do with management of population. Lagos is a fast-growing city. We know that as a fact. Prior to this administration, it was fast-growing, but it's not growing anywhere since Babajide Sanwo-Olu became the governor of Lagos State, because it's a government that, for me, has disappointed the people of Lagos. And I say that for good reasons.
Okay, we'll come to those things that you intend to do better than Sanwo-Olu or any other administration that has come. But let me just take you up on the hope mantra that you talked about, even though it may not be related with what you are doing. But the person, if I guess correctly, who is using the hope mantra as well, has never hidden the fact that he is fashioning his style of politics and policies after the MKO Abiola that you talked about in SDP that contested and won.
Who is this person?
So is it possible?
Who is this person?
Is it possible that the idea can be shared, not only used by SDP, but by other people?
For me, you are just going in the wrong direction.
Really?
I have given you a good explanation, which is a reasonable explanation that the Social Democratic Party, Hope 1992, remember?
Yeah, but SDP never manufactured the word.
Now you are not allowing me to speak.
No,
can you allow me to finish? Because for you say somebody. There's no somebody there. It's Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu in his APC campaign that is now using hope. And I'm saying to you that he's representing a government that is in power. The government is in power. He's aspiring to take over from Muhammadu Buhari, the president of Nigeria. Right? So if he says hope, the statement simply implies that he knows that the government that is there has failed. So for him, it is now hope for a better Nigeria. I shut it down there. He cannot plagiarize hope as his word for his campaign. I'm telling you, since we started this campaign, the presidential candidate of SDP, Prince Adewale, he has been using hope since he started his campaign. We have been using hope. All the candidates of the SDP, we have adopted the word hope. Where is he getting his own hope from? We are saying that the country is not doing well, it's being misgoverned. We have people here who have rendered us impecunious. We're in a situation whereby we can feed no more. We're in a situation whereby the filling stations are to spend 6 hours to buy fuel in a country that has fuel. All the refineries are shut down. Nothing is happening. Dollar to naira is 7 and something. So they have failed. This government has failed. It has failed as a federal government. It has failed more as a Lagos State government. Because what they are now saying, the governor of Lagos State says, I'm going to start the monorail before December. I don't know what is celebrating in starting the monorail. The monorail started with Babatunde Fashola 8 years, right? After Babajide Fashola, the same APC government, 4 years, Akinwumi Ambode. How many is that? 12. He's been there for 3 years plus. 15 years. To build a one line from CMS to Okokomaiko is taking a government for 15 years, and they are celebrating. There must be something wrong with this caliber of people. First and foremost, there is nowhere in any part of the developing world where you talk about a monorail. Mono means one rail line. For one place to you have a multi-rail system. 25 years ago, you go to London, in Paddington Station, there are 20 trains moving all over the place. They are buses. It's a hub, but it's now celebrating one rail. 15 years, one rail by a government that failed simply because he wants to contest election. And he thinks for him to defeat Mr. Kunle Uthman and so many of us, we have to be clapping for him for taking 15 years to build a rail station. Absolute nonsense.
Okay, let me allow my colleague, Bayo Oluwake.
Oh, it's my friend. It's my brother. We went to the same, not university, FSS. A good man.
I did tell you that I have a surprise for you.
No, it's not a surprise.
Okay, Bayo, please. We have Mr. Uthman here.
Hey, Baby Bobo. How you doing? He's a good man.
Good morning, Chief Kunle Uthman. And it's a pleasure to be interacting with you this morning.
Thank you, Bayo.
I'm not surprised at the vibrancy that you have brought into the studio. I would like you to tell our viewers that quality that you have, a special quality or several qualities, which makes you the best person for the position of Governor of Lagos from May 2023?
First and foremost, I am coherent, I'm articulate, and I have dreams. And anybody who is going to govern even a family must have a dream. Me, I'm experienced. I've been in government. I was in government in 1995 in ING under interim government of Anesoneko. I also proceeded to government. Then I was personal assistant to the Minister of Transport and Aviation and then to Power and Steel. For me, transportation, I understand it. Transportation for me is not road. Because when we talk of transportation, we keep talking about road. There are elements of transportation. It's road, it is water, and it is air. So we don't have to be talking about road. Do you understand? And I also understand that, I understand NEPA. Me, I understand why NEPA doesn't work. Because I remember during the time of the same Fashola in this Lagos State, there was an IPP program whereby the central business district in Lagos, the hospitals, the police collect, the high courts were supplied with regular power. You dare not put in a drink in the freezer for 2 days. It will break. because there was constant power. He made that possible. And what the government after him ought to do was nothing but to develop what he has started. They stifled the dream. We are now living in a city whereby we are classified. In my house, I pay like 100,000 naira per month. They said it's lucky, so we pay special tariff, and there's rarely light. So for me, I also lived in a Lagos where going to school, I could go to a public tap, wash my hands, and then drink water. It was clean. There wasn't anything like sachet water. There wasn't anything like bottled water. And if you could remember when we were at the Federal School of Arts and Science in Victoria and Abayo, there was a scholars bus. There was a bus specially dedicated for students. And when you are dressed in a certain way, you enter the bus, you pay close to free. Now we are in a situation whereby we are completely convoluted in a labyrinth marsh of misgovernance. Now, me, I also experienced, as a parent, paying about 1.2 million naira for my child to go to school per term. So the cost of his school was unbelievable. Now, how did we get into that place? We went to public schools. I remember, I went to Redi Primary School, public school, Methodist Boys High School, missionary public school, right? I went to Federal School of Arts and Science, we paid close to nothing. At the University of Benin, where I school, we paid close to nothing. Now, we are faced with this situation whereby you need to be a mega box before you can train your child. And what caused it? Atiku Abubakar, he owns a university. What is his business in owning a university? As byproduct of his deputy governor, vice presidency, his own university. You see, we have people who are geriatric. They have just passed their time. We need a level of vibrancy to move this country forward. It's not about party. For me, I have a dream. I moved from Lagos, my house in Lekki. I went to Ekpe. It took me 6 hours because there is this gridlock everywhere. The roads are is damaged. On my way back, it took me 7 hours. For one local government to the other, my brother, 13 hours. How do you live in a nation like that? And we have them say we build.
So you have the quality. Is that what you're saying?
Of course.
That stands you out.
Bayo, I have contacts with the Netherlands. I'm a businessman. I'm a lawyer. I'm well traveled. I'm going to bring ferries. You know Baba Kekere. You know Itafaji, the one that Jack Conde had on the water. I'm going to bring more sophisticated ferries from the Netherlands to Lagos. We are going to ensure that we have the water transportation as a transport hub. One ferry will leave CMS, will go to Ijede. Another one should be going to Ekpe. Another one should be going to... And they are not this 20-man ferry that they are celebrating. We're talking about ferries. When I traveled from Dublin to London, I was on the license. This was more than 20 years ago. The license is a 5-decker ferry. At the two floors, you're driving your car in Dublin, you collect it in London. When you finish your business, you drive it to the same ferry. We need to think outside the box. For me, I'm the best person in the circumstances to rule this state. And I was also a commissioner in this state, sometime.
Yes, Bayo, please.
Yes, Bayo, sorry.
Yeah. Will this, thank you for that perspective, Chico. But now, will this be purely Lagos State government funded? Because you alluded to the length of time it has taken to develop the train from Badagry Road to CMS. We've seen this length of time. And some people have said that it is because the government decided to do it, that if they had given this to the private sector, it might not have taken that long. So all these things you're mentioning, is it Lagos State government under you that will do them? Or is there a way that the private sector is going to be allowed to invest in these areas?
There are two things we need
How do you want to go about it?
Yeah, there are two things we need to clarify. You see, we're a capitalist economy, first and foremost. So you cannot devoid the private sector for any development that is meaningful, because it will be private sector driven. But first and foremost, you don't even go to the banks to go and ask for money if you cannot show that you can have an equity contribution. Lagos State, by the debt management office figures, as an IGR that equals that of 30 states of Nigeria. IGR, Lagos State, it's been like that. They generate a lot of money. Now, the oxymoron of this is this. Lagos State that has the highest IGR, they are also the most indebted state in Nigeria. Now, so you see, the man is the richest and he's also the poorest in terms of his borrowing profile. That gives you an insight into
also,
how
that was also going to be the next thing. How do you intend to correct that one? Because
I'll tell you. Me, first of all, I have a 15% of IGR in this state that is going to a private company in Lagos. This company is called Alphabeta. Do you understand? The circumstances that brought this company to life was when Obasanjo seized the resources of Lagos State. The money coming from the federal, because he said the creation of LCDAs in Lagos was an aberration that is not recognized by the Constitution. So they should revert, and they refused to revert. By their ingenuity, Lagos was able to survive, right? And by that time, this private company was contracted to collect money on behalf of Lagos State. It was ingenious. We needed to clap for them because it was a good idea. But since then, the funds had been released to government, and this big company has no business again being around, but they're still there, and they're collecting money. And they collect, I think, that 12 to 15% on whatever we generate as IGR. So me, if I'm governor of Lagos, then inshallah, executive order 1, I will terminate that arrangement. That's money. 15%.
But that
Sorry,
gives,
sir,
that
I'm
gives
coming.
concern.
I'm coming. It doesn't give concern. For me, again, you will also know that in Lagos, there used to be a security trust fund that they created. In this state, again, during the regime of Babatunde Fashola. Do you understand? They created the Lagos State Trust Fund, and all the multinationals in this state, they contributed enough money, and that was why we were better secured. Because through the trust fund, they were able to keep the police, giving them better wares, they bought them vehicles, and policemen in Lagos were also supplemented in terms of payment of salaries. Now, I will also deal with that. There's a fourth mainland bridge that has been in the minds of government of Lagos State for so many years now. We are going to put in a fourth mainland bridge. Bam, nothing has happened. I can see recently, hurriedly, they have now called for bidding, and they have brought in the bidders who will do this bridge. It is important that this is a bridge that is necessary in Lagos. But the way and manner the bridge is designed is so convoluted, it's complex. That's not what we need. We are looking for functionality and not window dress. We need to look at the design again, and we are going to partner with companies that will now collect toll as and where necessary on that bridge to get their money back, and we have a reversionary right. So we are not going to do it alone. We can't do it alone. All aspects of what we want to do is going to be with responsible people. We have hospitals in Lagos here where there are no beds, there are no drugs. You have people lying on the floor when you go to the hospitals. Those are not the incidents of a mega city. Me, I was the one that drafted the habitat law for Lagos State. I drafted the law. I know what it involves. Because I was part of the policy body, the technical committee that Babatunde Fashola put in place when he was there, for us to be able to cater for incidents of collapsed buildings, among other things. And Mr. Sanwo-Olu was also part of this committee. As a matter of fact, he was the vice president of the committee, vice chairman. This was in 2012. 2021, buildings have been crashing everywhere in Lagos. 21 stories building came down in Ikoyi soil. 21!
Yeah.
How does anybody invest in a place where 21 stories crash?
Yes. Okay.
Lagos has now become a state of collapsing buildings.
Let's look at these finances. You said that Lagos collects a lot of money, and that was due to the ingenuity that was put in motion by contracting a private firm to collect revenue. Now, that means that when the private company had not come, the revenue collection was really low. Now, if you revert this, if you abolish this, if you terminate the contract of the private company, what alternative do you have so that Lagos can stay afloat, stay like that with revenue collection?
One thing that is obvious to me, you didn't follow my trend. If you did follow my trend, I said that there was a contingency then that made it necessary for them to bring in this private company.
So you think without them, Lagos can do as well as them?
Oh, not as well, better. In this state, we have an institution, an agency. It's in front of Alausa. They call it LIRS, Lagos Internal Revenue Service.
But they were there before the private company.
You are not letting me finish. The primary responsibility of the LIRS is to collect tax. So they will do exactly what this company is doing. There is nothing they are doing different now. What they did different was then. Now nothing different. We're going to bring in people, financial experts. We employ them. We have some consultants work with LRS. We'll retain this money in our country, in our states. Let me tell you what it involves. Maybe you think it's a small figure. If we collected 600 billion per annum, for example, about 90 billion is an outlet. So you can see the streets of Lagos. You know we are going into election. What you see in Lagos is appalling. The governor of Lagos State, you see those billboards he's putting there, it costs between 8 to 15 million naira each. Go to the road and check how many billboards that there are. Emiloko, it's billboard that they are putting everywhere. Do you understand? Cost almost the same thing. Remember when they were going to collect funds, 100 million naira funds. So you see they are celebrating themselves. They are not thinking about the people. Now we need to be more scientific in what we're doing. The people. Jeremy Bentham, I don't know if you know him, a political scientist, he said the essence of good government is the greatest happiness of the greatest number. Are you happy? Me, I'm not happy. Because it is costing me my life to survive in this state. I can't buy diesel for my generator. I can't buy forex. I can't go anywhere. I'm trapped here because there is no dollar.
National thing.
Well, national thing, Lagos is also part of the problem because the government at the federal is called APC. You know the meaning of APC? It's the same government that has been here for 4 times. Ashiwaju, Fashola, Ambode, Sanwo-Olu, I believe they are APC people. So this man should just go home and sit down. Me, I'm an indigenous of the state. The man is not from here.
Okay, still going back to that, what would you do that would make the LIRS to sit up so well and do their job? Because this is the same kind of thing that is replicated in all other states that are not doing as well as Lagos. Lagos is the only one that contracted this private entity that made their IGR go. So which means there's something about government institutions that don't seem to work. What will you do differently?
No, it is because, you see, you belong to those people that believe that the public sector is not functional, and you are dead wrong. You're very, very wrong. What you need to do is to motivate the bureaucrats and ensure that they perform a good job. The man who was in LRS before, Fowler, he was moved from there to the FRS. It was a signal to show that Lagos works, right? Now, what you need to do, it's a collection process. Don't you understand? It's not generation. You need to understand collection and generating tax. They're different things. The money is there. You have in place a pay-as-you-earn system. You have companies that you have to collect tax from. Don't you understand? And you ensure that you widen the tax net. It doesn't involve the ingenuity of a third party. It only shows a taxman that knows what to do, and he will do it, and he will do it well. We'll keep our money in our state. Our roads are not good. So we want to go to Awegaya and do the road in Awegaya. You understand? We also want to go to Ewe-Elekpe and repair the road. We want to go to Kokomaiko and do what is right. We want to make sure that when you're going to Badagry from Lagos, you got a smooth ride. You don't go to a place and then you cannot move. The Lagos State University, which is the brand university for us as a state, go there. How do you get to the university? There is no road. Whichever way you want to get to the place, you can see there's traffic gridlock everywhere. So we need to think outside the box, my friend. We need to bring in people who have ideas and who can develop the ideas. What is going on now? I can show you it's a state on auto drive.
Yes, Bayo is itching.
Yeah, Chief Uthman, let's come back to the industry. Lagos houses the bulk of the industries in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, as you know, between if you take away what Awolowo set up in the First Republic, the Western Nigerian Marketing Board estate around Ikeja, all those areas, the only addition to that was the Isolo industrial area, the Ota, which is in Ogun State, but Agbara, which is partly Lagos, partly Ogun State. The question is, we haven't seen new industries being attracted to Lagos. Lagos has been rather difficult to set up business in. What exactly will you do? What kind of incentives? What are your plans to make sure that the industrial capacity in Nigeria, which is very low, by the way, and Lagos leading in this area, that you will increase the industrial capacity, especially within the territory of Lagos?
First of all, let's not engage in conjecture. We need to deal with the facts. First and foremost, nobody will build anything in Lagos or in Nigeria for now because of the exorbitant price of diesel. You see, diesel light is a very important cost in production, as you know. When you talk about cost of a product, you need to produce it. Because we don't have light, and because the cost of diesel has become, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just, it goes up, 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 it never comes down. They will tell you, if you started a factory and you are factoring your cost of production lights, because the lighting government has failed in providing light. So now you cannot afford a production network whereby there will be interruption of your production. So you need a backup. Your normal backup is going to be a huge diesel generator. Now, when you wrote your plan, it was 234 naira for diesel. Now, somewhere down the line, 5 years later, the diesel alone is costing you 700 naira. You're going to shut down. Number one, you will shut down. Now, if you are able to survive that, most of what you are bringing in, they are imported products, and you have to source money from the CBN. Now the cost of the dollar is just skyrocketing. Today it's 200, it almost got to 800. That's another reason why you are going to shut down the factory. Even if you found the money to buy the dollar, the CBN says to you, we don't have dollar to give you. What do? You go and buy with what? You can see what happened to Emirates and other airlines here, because they can't get their money out of the country. Some of them, you see, Nigeria is dealing with a very, very complex situation that has been foisted on us by misrule. And that is the tragedy of the fact that we still have geriatric people coming to return and say, yes, it is PDP, it is APC. No, it's not correct. We are not a nation of a two political party system. I know for a fact that there are alternatives. We now need to begin to think how to hand over our country to people who have more ideas. There was this other party, they spent their time. This one has also spent in time. They are a continuation of the same characters moving from one point to the other. They have failed this country. If we are looking at a future where we are going to have a better country, we need to think outside the box. We may be considering the IPP option. We have to decentralize power. The way and manner we are doing power here, look, there's a gas station in Ikorodu, the Egbe Thermal Station. How then do you explain that people in Nigeria, next door to this thermal station, they don't have light? How do you explain that our hospitals, we don't have light? So we need to begin to think about modular production. We provide, and we do what we have to do. We have the Ajaokuta steel mill there. It's the most modern industry anywhere on earth. Everybody wake up one day, they talk about Ajaokuta, but nobody has been able to start the steel industry because you cannot really do much with that place because the whole technology has changed. So you can set up a path because the Constitution now allows states to also set up power stations. It's on the concurrent list. So aren't you thinking that given the economic potential of Lagos, the fact that Lagos provides 30% of Nigeria's GDP, and in order to bring in, encourage the private sector, widen the industrial capacity, that Lagos could have its own power generating company, for example? Are you thinking in that direction? No, I'm not only thinking in that direction. First and foremost, if you want to go into a Apapa port from anywhere, the revenue from that port is very huge in terms of what we get as a country. There's no way to get there. You will find out that you have a traffic situation, trailer to trailer, 500 trailers long. Now, hitherto, you needed to pay X amount of money, but now you have to go find your way, one way or the other, to get your trailer, your truck into the place. It's affecting us. And the beneficiaries of that, they are our neighboring ports. For me, I want to bring in equipments. I want to do things. But they are not going to come by road from wherever I'm bringing them from. They are going to come by the same area, the same Apapa ports. I have to bring it into Lagos. So first and foremost, I need to clear that problem. I need to work with the Minister of Transportation to let them understand that as they benefit from that port, it is the financial nerve center of Nigeria. There needs to be access. That port is the only port that I know in the world. I've been widely traveled. I've been engaged in maritime work where there is no train. There has to be a train that services the ports. that train will be everywhere. So that if you wanted to move cargo from Apapa ports and you are taking it to Duse in Jigawa, or you are taking it to Zamfara, or you are taking it to Borno, you go by rail. In Nigeria, when I was in, I think, secondary school, 76, I traveled from Lagos to Maiduguri by rail. By rail. They didn't carry me in the coach. I sat down there and moved from one place to the other. So first and foremost, we need that link. For me, if that is solved, then that will involve myself and the Minister of Transportation putting in place the necessary instruments before the Federal Executive Council. We have a solution. We need to solve this problem because we are suffering. It is cheaper for you to go to our neighboring countries and bring in your things as opposed to bringing it through our own ports. When that is done, that will now encourage us. Because people have brought in equipment into this country and it's been stuck in the ports for years. Now, because the demurrage.
If you allow me just to, because this is very relevant, I know I'm good also to probably come in with a question, but let me quickly bring this in. You've given a very graphic situation and the challenges of leveraging the Apapa port. Don't you think the same problem is looming in the Lekki axis? Because the Lekki deep sea port has been finished and handed over 5 weeks ago, if I'm correct now. What exactly would be your plan to make sure that what has happened to Apapa and to people who have to use that corridor does not happen in the Lekki axis, now that the Lekki deep sea port is functional?
I tell you one thing for free. It's not only the seaport. You have in place Dangote refinery. It is there. They're going to start operations. You also have in place the free trade zone. There are 3 complex investments in that area. What you have painted is even, I think, is just average. What you're going to have there, the design, in Lagos State is the only place I know on earth whereby you are going to put in place infrastructure. You're going to put in place a facility and the infrastructure will not be in place before you start construction. If you wanted to have a layout of an estate, you are going to have the telephones, the roads put in place before you start making allotment. So what they have done is to do what they know how to do best, just to do things irrationally, not to think it out. Because you see, there was this idea of a coastal road. The coastal road was supposed to be from Kuramo down to Epe, dovetailing off the road. Nobody has done anything about that coastal road. You go behind Oniru. They have allocated all the places to themselves. There are event centers everywhere. What ought to be a coastal road can no longer be there because they have depleted the ocean bed. Critical. Now, what do you do with Dangote refineries if they are going to be the ones who are going to have the fuel? There has to be tens of thousands of trailers that will have to be on the road. Then what happens? Where are they going to pass? No road in Awayaya. Me, I went to Ekwe back and forth 13 hours. So by the time you have those trailers on the road, there's also a complexity. So we now need to speak to Dangote. Mr. Dangote, you have put in place this investment here now. We now need to think about the CRS with you. We need to do our roads. And that's exactly what he did in the Oshodi Bagada area. Because the traffic gridlock in that access, there was an arrangement with him. I think it's a 90-year arrangement or so, and there will be a tax relief. We will do the same thing for him. He cannot put a refinery there for capitalism and for commerce, and then it's going to inconvenience our citizens. I congratulate Ogun State government. They have done wonderfully well. Because if you see the road from Ijebu-Ode to Ekpe, good road. Now people leave Ekpe and they go through Ijebu-Ode, come into town, and come to Lekki. It is shorter. Very ridiculous situation we have found ourselves. We have a government, they say we are doing this, but they just mouthing things that they have done, but they are not looking at the people.
Okay.
And Bentham was right. The people of Lagos State were not happy. So it has to be the greatest happiness of the greatest number. This government has failed. They got no business to be painting the road. If they have succeeded, they will not have this political frenzy everywhere you go. So Sanwo-Olu for the election. I don't know, whatever, with the deputies, it's all over the place. If you are a government that won election, or you have performed well, you don't need this political frenzy as if everybody must be looking at you. Your work will speak for you. We need a change in this state, not even in this state. We also need a change in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And Prince Adewale, our candidate, good man, 50 years old, sound legal practitioner. We have a program, the Social Democratic Party, to bring this state out of the logjam it has found itself and to bring a relief to this country. We must stop medical tourism. We must stop a time when our president will have to go abroad every time when he has headache. We must also not put in place to replace one man who goes on a medical headache with another one that will be doing the same thing, because the signs are there. And I thank Ernest for the beavers. I was in Guinea at the University of Benin Alumni Award Night yesterday. He explained the way the viewers work. Now, there will be no rigging of elections. There will be no vote buying. There will be no vote carrying. So we believe that we will sell to the people of Lagos State the message of hope. We are going to let the people of this country know. Then it is for them to decide. They may want what is happening to continue. But also remember that we have a 60% youth population in the 2023 election. Young people. The man who was 14 before the ball is now 18, is voting. The man 15 is voting. Think about what happened during the NSAS. The statement by the youth is this: we want our country back for ourselves. So we don't want any geriatric person who has medical issues to govern us ever again.
Okay. Because our time is up, let's just have a mention of your agenda. You know, some people have 4 points, 7 points, 12 points. What are your agenda? What is your agenda? What are the greatest concerns when you come into power that you are going to tackle?
If you had listened to me very well, trust me.
Just
Number one.
highlight them.
No, that's the way you work. Me, I'm a legal practitioner. I practiced law for 37 years, right? So I won't speak like you. More importantly,
we have like 2 minutes.
No, the 2 minutes.
It's enough.
Transport.
Good.
Roads. We are going to fix these roads. Do you understand? Multi-rail system, not monorail. Multi, I've explained it. The hospitals, we are going to fix the hospitals. Huh? We'll build better hospitals. Mother maternity hospitals. We don't have enough in this city. You understand? And we are also going to ensure that our schools are functional. We are going to go back to the golden days of public education. So that me, Kunle Uthman, went to public school, my father paid close to nothing. We are not going to encourage what is going on now, which is an aberration. We are going to invest in education. We are going to train teachers. We will not have this university mentality. Do you understand? We will have colleges of education where you train teachers. It's a very noble profession. You don't need to say it's a university. We are going to have artisans. You understand? There are people, they want to build their houses. They go and bring artisans from other countries I don't want to mention. There are ladies that I know. They want to sew their abuwa. They have a collection. They send it to a neighboring country. That is a shame. So we are going to ensure that tailors, bricklayer, carpenter, they are well trained in such a way that when we want to build a 40-story building, do you understand, or 50, we will be sure that from floor 1 to floor 50, the building will never ever come down. So if we have a building come down now, 21 stories went down, 3 stories went down, 7 stories went down, and there had been continuous building collapse in the life of this Sanwo-Olu administration. We can then say, as the people have said, this is an administration of collapsing buildings. He has no business to go back into power. Let him just leave and let us have a better life in this city. Thank you very much.
Okay, so transportation, education, commerce, and a few other things. Health, very important.
Health is very important.
Yes.
Health. We're going to aid medical, not health. That. No, not health. We're going to aid medical tourism. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is known regularly to go abroad. He is either in France, he's either in London, he's going to for his health. Even when the VP, Professor Shibaju, he had issues with his surgery. He did it here, but he did not do it in general hospital. Neither did he go to LASUT. He went to one of those high-profile hospitals. When you enter the place from the reception till you get inside, it's as if you are abroad. No. If my leg is hot, right? If I'm dying, they will take me to LASUT. If I'm dying. If there is nobody to treat me in LASUT, I will die there. I'm okay. I go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nobody carries me anywhere. Because in all my life, I have never left Nigeria to go for medical treatment everywhere. I either go to military hospital, I go to general hospital. My cards are there for you to cross-check. So if we must aid medical tourism here. And we must also develop our nation in such a way that people come, and we are going to develop sports. You can see the whole world now is looking at the World Cup. We have people. Our own state will also produce footballers. Remember Teslim Balogun? I don't know if you're from here. Teslim Balogun, a series of people. I don't know, Ilerica. These were people who played football for Lagos State, and they were recognized as fit and proper persons who can do the same thing. So we're going to encourage our young people. You're going to be in school, you're going to do sports, so it will complement you. Right? So we will develop. It's not for us to go there. People will come from other countries to be part of what we are doing here.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was meant to be for a very few minutes, and it became so long because we've had so much to talk about here, and we couldn't even exhaust it. We've been talking with the gubernatorial candidate for Social Democratic Party, SDP, Mr. Kunle Uthman, and he has told us how he can make Lagos better. Some people think Lagos has reached its peak and nothing more can be added, or just little can be added. But he thinks otherwise, that so much more can be done for Lagos. We'd like to say thank you to you, Mr. Uthman, for coming on the show. Well, God be with you. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much. And I'm happy to be here. I like your studio, good people. The Almighty God going to bless you all.
Amen. So we'll take a short break, and when we're taking the news, after the news, we'll continue with the run-up. Stay with us.